In this video, we're going to talk about the Carnival Legend and my cruise on that ship out of Baltimore in April of 2022. My name is Eric, and I love to cruise. The Carnival Legend is a Spirit class ship built in 2002. It is designed to handle 2,124 passengers and a crew of 930. The week that we sailed, there were over 2,300 passengers, so it was more than 100% capacity. The reason why we went on this cruise was because it had been 5 years since I'd been on a cruise, and I was anxious and looking forward to getting back on a cruise ship. And the price was right. We paid for a 7-night cruise and a balcony cabin for the two of us, $1,167. That includes the cruise fare, the taxes, port charges, the gratuities, and the travel insurance. So all that bundled together for the two of us was only $1,167. The cruise was dirt cheap, and it only took us 40 minutes to drive from our home to the cruise terminal. So that made it very good because we didn't have to fly to another city. So Embarkation, let me tell you about that. Once we arrived at our time, we arrived about 40 minutes before our time that we were assigned to be there, and there was already a long line of cars waiting to enter the parking lot. It took us about 30 minutes to get through the line of cars into the parking lot. We unloaded our checked bags with the porters, and then we carried our handbags to the building. We got in line, went through the COVID testing area. We already had used the Verifly app on our phone to input our information about our COVID vaccines and the COVID tests that we were required to take 2 to 3 days before the cruise. So that was quick and easy. We just showed them that we were good on the Verifly app. It took us about 30 minutes from when we got in line until we were walking on the ship. Currently, the Carnival Legend has a 7-night itinerary. It leaves from Baltimore, Maryland, has 2 days at sea, and our itinerary for the week that we traveled, the third day was at Grand Turk Island in the Turks and Caicos, which is near the Bahamas. The next day was at Half Moon Cay, which is Carnival's private island in the Bahamas. And then the last day, port of call day, was in Freeport. We did not get off the ship that day. And then we had another day and a half at sea, returning back to Baltimore. The first thing that we did was to find our cabin. It was a spacious balcony cabin. The cabin was set up for us as a king-size bed. It had a sofa. The bathroom actually was a nice size for a cruise ship cabin. The shower was excellent with hot water, and it seemed good for us. There was plenty of storage space. There were 3 cabinets that we could store our hang-up clothes in, and plenty of drawers and cabinet space to keep our things in. And then we put our suitcases under the bed for the week. The atrium is really interesting. It goes from the deck 2 all the way up to deck 10, I believe, where the steakhouse is, which you pay extra to dine there. The artwork throughout the ship was very interesting. it did not appeal to me, but still it's art and it's interesting to view it. Each landing on the stairs throughout the ship, there was artwork, and there were pieces of art that were glass, made of glass, and they were very interesting. Of course, there was a kids club for the teens, for the the middle teen kids, and for the younger. There's a serenity deck for adults age 21 and over, which seemed to be respected. It was a very popular area on the days at sea when it was warm out. There are 3 pools on the ship, and each pool has a whirlpool or spa. One area that I'm always interested in is the gym, because on this class of ship, there is a nice locker room separate for the men and women. There is a steam room and a sauna, and within the locker room area there are 3 or 4 shower rooms. Each one is private, and they have a rainwater shower head, and then 4 shower heads that come out from the wall on either side, and it is a wonderful experience to take a shower there in the locker room. There is also, of course, the gym with the exercise machines and weight machines and free weights, if you're interested in that. And then in the gym area, between the gym and the spa area, there is a Whirlpool Tub, which we used. Once it's discovered by passengers, it becomes a popular hot tub, just like all the others. And then between that and the locker room, there are the treatment rooms where you can receive massages and manicures and pedicures and get your hair done and all those sorts of things. Of course, there are tons of activities on the ship. We saw a couple of the deck games going on. Folks were tossing bean bags for the cornhole game, and that was fun to watch. Really good shows each night. The shows were review type shows with lots of music and dancing, and each show lasted about 30 minutes. The shows generally were done twice each evening, at 7:30 and at 9:30, so you could go to either one of those. There was music throughout the ship. A trio of violin players played pop music in the Alchemy Bar on deck 2. That was probably one of our favorite places to enjoy. There was also a band that played in the Red Toad Pub, a guitar player, and a duo that played steel drums. That was good. And then also in the piano bar, we enjoyed the piano bar very much. Greg was the piano player, very talented in his singing and piano playing. We checked out the disco several times, and one fun activity was they called it a silent disco. Everybody had headphones on and could choose their music to dance to. That was fun. There's ping pong up on deck and miniature golf. The casino was lively with lots of activity. There are, of course, the shops on the ship on deck 3. The water slides were not used very much. I was surprised. That's something I always like to do. And there wasn't a long line. And also there was karaoke, which we watched a little bit of that. And there's also an arcade where you can put your money in and play the games. I guess you use your sail and sign card to do that. Let's talk about the food on the ship. Of course, up on the Lido deck, deck 9, you have the buffet style eating. And we found the food to be mediocre. There were always lines for that at noontime and at dinner time. but it moved pretty quickly. There was an area where you could get sandwiches and wraps. There was, of course, the pizza, hot foods, and the desserts were absolutely beautiful at lunchtime. Between noon and 2:30 generally, they had the cakes out that you could get a slice of cake. There's also Guy's Burgers, which is I think open from noon until about 6 in the evening. If you like a quick hamburger and fries, they had that there. The ice cream machines were right around the corner. Ice cream's open 24 hours a day. The pizza has hours throughout the day and the night. And also there's a sushi restaurant on the ship that we frequented 3 times. And the sushi you pay for extra, but we found the prices were very similar to sushi restaurants local to our area, and the sushi was excellent, and the sushi rolls seemed to be longer. Seems like you had a larger portion. I just can't say enough about how much we enjoyed the sushi restaurant. And we don't drink, but obviously there are bars everywhere on the ship, and the bartenders are always aiming to please. We would frequent the Alchemy Bar a lot because we like the music there. And there was the bar in the Atrium where we always saw people hanging out there, and other bars as well. And because Carnival Cruise Line has gone to a paperless system, you need to download the Hub app and connect to the ship's Wi-Fi, which is free to use the Hub app. And on that Hub app on your phone, you can view the activities of the day. There's a planner that you can click on activities that you'd like to go to, and then throughout the day, the planner will alarm you and let you know that activity is coming up. Also, in the dining room, if you want a paper menu, you need to ask for one. Otherwise, you can see the menu ahead of time on the Hub app. And I want to talk about the dining room experience. Formerly, on formal nights, when you dress up in the dining room, there would be tablecloths. They no longer put a tablecloth on the dining room table at any time. The table is set exactly the same every day, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Nothing special. I would say the wait staff are good, but they are short-handed right now, and they are not very attentive. We would only see them when they take our order and when they bring the food out. The food was good in the dining room. On the first formal night, we enjoyed lobster tails. My wife and I love lobster, and we told the waiter we were going to get 3 lobster tails each, but we would start with 2, and then they could bring the third one out after we finished those, and we thoroughly enjoyed that meal. Some other highlights in the dining room were the veal parmesan. I enjoyed very much. One of the desserts was really special, is the creme brulee. Breakfast in the dining room was interesting. On the sea days, breakfast was a brunch, and it went from 8:30 until noon. And because it's a brunch, you could get breakfast foods or lunch foods. I think that's when I had one of the best burgers I've ever had. It was a brisket on a bun with all the fixings. It was excellent. And at breakfast time on the port days, breakfast was earlier in the morning, and I think it finished in the dining room maybe 8:30 or 9. And one of our favorite things at breakfast was the yogurt parfait. It was full of nuts and I think raisins and craisins, and it was just excellent. And because it was a parfait, it was layered, it was delicious. And we actually would eat our omelet and bacon, or however we wanted our eggs. We would eat that first, save our parfait as a dessert at the end of breakfast. So that's how much we enjoyed the yogurt parfait. I want to tell you about some of the highlights of this cruise for me. Leaving the port of Baltimore, you go past the historic Fort McHenry, where the Star Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott Key. After that, you go under the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and because of the bridge, Baltimore cannot accommodate larger cruise ships. So that's why the Spirit class ship sails out of Baltimore and not larger ships, because the larger ships wouldn't be able to fit under the Key Bridge. But that was a highlight. And then after you pass the Key Bridge, there's small Fort Carroll there in the harbor, and there are other interesting sights as you leave Baltimore. One of the other highlights for me was the sauna and the steam room. I really enjoyed those. Every morning our room steward would do our room, clean up our room very nicely, and give us the iconic towel animals on the bed. One day we came back from brunch and we walk in our cabin and there's no towel animal on the bed, and I'm thinking, what's going on? And then there it was a monkey hanging from the lights. That was fun. Also, some of the highlights for us were the music. My wife and I love to dance. We are trained ballroom dancers, and we really enjoyed the string quartet, the three violin players. They chatted with us, we chatted with them, and one evening someone came up to them and requested a song, and I'm a violin player. I play old-time fiddle tunes, and someone requested a song called Ashokan's Farewell, and the violin player said, "Oh, we don't know that." And I turned to him and I said, "Well, I know it, I could play it for you." And so the gentleman in the trio handed me his violin, and I played a verse of the song for everybody, and they got a kick out of that. Also, the piano bar was exceptional. We felt so relaxed there with Greg, the piano man. He willingly took everybody's requests. He would remember people's names from night to night throughout the cruise. He was really a wonderful person to be around, and his singing and piano playing was exceptional. And we even danced a little bit in the piano bar as well. One of the other highlights for us, as I mentioned earlier, was the Sushi Restaurant. Excellent sushi, beautifully presented. The service was nice, and the price was matched the prices we pay for sushi on land. And another highlight for me was going down the water slide. I actually didn't take the yellow water slide because it was closed that day, but the green water slide is the one that they say is so scary, and I found it interesting because you step on this little platform, and then the platform falls out from under you, and you just go falling down, and it is terrifying but so thrilling. I went 4 times in a row, and each time I just can't tell you the adrenaline rush I had. It was so fun. It's on all the cruises we go on, we love to dance, and we danced every night wherever there was music that we felt a connection to, whether it was in the Atrium or the Red Toad pub, or up on deck, or in the Alchemy Bar. Wherever they were playing music, we danced and really enjoyed that. Some of my comments about the cruise are, I was surprised by the smoking areas on the starboard side of the ship, on deck 9 by the pool, and also on deck 10 above the pool was the smoking area, and of course smoking was allowed in the casino. On deck 10, just up from the Serenity deck, there were these round blue loungers. I don't know what they call them, but they were very appealing. When the ship was moving and it was a little breezy up there, you could get in one of these loungers and be protected from the wind. The only concern we had was the cushions in them would slide out as you're lounging in it, but they were very popular. The Hub app is essential now to use to know what's going on the ship, and the art around the ship was very interesting. Even the art in our cabin I found to be interesting. I will have other videos coming up to tell you about our visits to the ports of call of Grand Turk Island and Half Moon Cay. So you can look for those coming up. Thank you very much for watching, and happy sailing.